Myers Syndrome! Hello. Welcome back. Oops, open that. Ah! Been a while. Yes! Yes, it has been a while. Yes. How have you been? What have you been up to? Updates, 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 updates. Also, yesterday I went and watched the new Jurassic World movie. I want to wait till a couple more people come in before I start talking about it, but it was alright. Have you seen it yet? You did stream earlier, played a little more. Little witch. No better. I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that. What's that about? I haven't been keeping up with all the new games. I know I need to. I do have the Uma game. I have Uma Musume installed, and I did play a little bit. I mostly have been playing it on my phone. So I have a handle on how things are meant to go. But I do plan on playing that on stream eventually. Gotta bring myself to join it. I mean, I'm already on the bandwagon. I just need to cross it over into stream. I started playing one of the MMOs I used to play again. I don't know if I'm gonna keep up with it though. I think I invited a couple of people to play with me. However, I don't know if this is going to be a thing that we're going to be keeping up, so I might end up uninstalling it again. It is quite a large file. Anyway. You play this little anime witch girl named Nobeta. Nobeta. You go around navigating dungeons and lands, killing enemies. Okay, I'm with you. Surprisingly difficult though. It's even got the Souls-like tag on Steam. Oh, yeah, I've never played a Souls-like game. I'm very I'm very prone to anger. I'm very prone to anger and frustration. So I have not played a Souls-like game before. Uh, should I? Should I give them a try? It's Cinna. It's Sealy. Hi, Sealy. How are you? You played Uma as well. I don't think you got very angry during FNF. Oh! I kind of did. I kind of did. But that was more me being like, I can fucking do this. I can do this. I can fucking do this. I can fucking do this. I know I can do this. I got it. I know I can do it, you know? That was more like I gotta get it. I gotta get it. I mean, I guess it's probably gonna be the same with a Souls-like game, but probably more angry though. I don't think you guys have ever seen me like actually mad and frustrated at something. I try not to be. Basili, how are you doing? What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Anything new to announce to the team? Oh, big stretch. Oh, just so you guys know, I did up my my ad times. Right, I did increase my ad time so that they'll happen less often. So but I should run an ad for pre-roll to be turned off, but probably do it a bit later. A dog at work pulled my arm into the latch on her room, and I filed my first incident report. Oh, your first incident report. Ooh. You set your ad times to 30 seconds. Don't know if that means they pop up more often. You can see it when you're on, if you go to your monetization tab, let me open that actually. I'm gonna open it in a new tab. So if you open your monetization tab, all right, and then click on ads. I have my ads manager turned on, so it schedules them automatically. So let's say you set your ads to be 30 minutes. For every hour you get 30 seconds of ads. So that's what you have yours set on, right? So if you do that one, you get a net share of, I don't know if those are like all around or specific to you, but let's say you get a 30% revenue share off of that. Ad length and frequency, you can set it to automatic or manual. I have mine as manual. So if you have them minimally 30 seconds per hour, then you get a half a minute ad break every hour. But I think most people don't have that. They'll probably have it like, let's say like 3 minutes, like 3-4 minutes, right? So if I set that to 3 minutes per hour, if you want the shortest ads possible, you'll get like half a minute ad break every 10 minutes. But if you do longer ads, like let's say a 2-minute ad, then that would happen every 40 minutes. Or you can do a full 3-minute ad every hour if you do like 3 minutes per hour. So you can play around with that in your monetization tab to see where it would get you. You're just a baby in the workforce, little workforce baby. Yeah, it's just something that, like, you're going to have it on your stream anyway, you know? I'll see, like, right here. We have a, I didn't even... Alright, so, let's say... Yeah. The ad feature is just something that is required once you have like monetization on your channel. Like you can't just get rid of your ads, right? So some people just try to have as minimal ads as possible or like less frequently as possible. You don't really make a lot of money off of ads anyway. So a lot of streamers just don't really care about them that much. I don't. I just like you guys sitting here talking with me. But yeah, the purpose of me making the ad breaks a little longer is just so they happen less often. That way you're not like hit with an ad every 10 minutes, you know? Yeah. Basically. Which, you know, it's a lot easier for people to become affiliate now, so they get more ad revenue off of us. Also, if you guys did not know, there was a new update on Twitch's TOS. They don't want you to mention on stream other places to find you. And also, they don't want you to have links to them either. Makes one wonder why they don't encourage more partners as well. Well, I think it's just because partner has always been difficult to get. I don't think they're ever going to lower the requirements to become partner because partners get so much. Like, the purpose of being a partner is to like bring attention, bring more like revenue in, right? So they're not just gonna like make it easier to pay people out for partner, right? Yeah. Those are the people who are usually gonna be like big with like sponsors and shit. I mean, you don't even have to have a partner, Twitch partner to get sponsors. You just have to be like entertaining and prove that you have good growth. Unlike me, I'm boring. I'm boring. What am I doing here? I'm boring. What are you guys doing here? We're just chilling. We're just all friends here, chilling, talking with each other. Oh wait. I'm in ASMR category. I'm supposed to be. Hold on. ASMR voice. Shh. ASMR voice. I forgot I jumped straight into the ASMR category instead of regular yappy yap sessions. Cozy as heck, I love it here. Oh, thank you, Seely. Thank you. Oh yeah, okay. So has anyone watched the new Jurassic World movie? It's been out for a few weeks now. Has anyone seen it? I went to watch it yesterday. And I want to know if you guys have seen it, did you like it? You saw it. What did you think? very curious about what other people's opinions was on it. And I felt like, you know, why not talk about it on this stream? We've been reading Jurassic Park. The new movie just came out a couple weeks ago. So why not incorporate that into our stream today? We'll yap about it for a little bit before we get into the book. It was cute. I'm glad the girl had plot armor. Yeah. You know, it was kind of nice to see her, you know, outside of the kind of Black Widow persona, you know. You haven't seen the new movie. I like that the one guy didn't die in the end. The one who, like, was gonna, you know, do the thing with the flare. And then he ends up being alive at the end. I like that. I'm trying not to, like, spoil it. I like that that specific guy did not die at the end. I did enjoy the movie, but as far as it being a continuation of the Jurassic franchise, I really didn't think that it was necessary. It was an unnecessary movie. He refuses to die. Yeah, he refuses to die in the jungle. I love it, yeah. I thought it was unnecessary as a continuation of the franchise. Like, I kind of hope that it just ends there. I hope that they don't decide to make another movie, because I don't feel like I don't think it would make sense. Because at this point, like, you know, the dinosaurs are doing what they said the dinosaurs are doing in the movie. And I just don't think that it would be... I think that would be a good place to end it. Like, it could have ended in the last movie. In what was it, Dominion? It could have ended in Dominion. I don't think Rebirth was necessary. Other than that, I laughed a couple of times. I laughed a couple of times during the movie, I'm not gonna lie, because there were some moments that were just kind of ridiculous to me. They were kind of funny, and I was just like, this is so unserious. It wasn't, like, it's supposed to be, like, kind of scary, action-y, adventure-y, but it really was, like, in my opinion, it was not very, like, the trailers made it seem like it was gonna be scarier than it actually was. And I didn't find it to be very, very scary. The pee, I know, right? The pee scene. Oh my god, that was so funny. Oh my god. Oh no, my chat. Okay, there's the chat. Oh yeah, Squidward ASMR is real. You gotta love the Squidward ASMR. I might make like an ASMR version of that. How am I gonna do that? Squidward ASMR? Oh no, it was just the daily bubble that was just... You know what? Squidward ASMR. How would just Squidward being grumpy? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna write grumpy ASMR. Okay, so it's on the list now. I'm gonna write... I was already planning on writing a yandere ASMR based on my character. Now I'm gonna write a grumpy ASMR. But I think I'll make it general so I can just sell it on my Ko-fi. grumpy ASMR. Grumpy girlfriend ASMR. Would you guys watch that? Would you guys listen to my grumpy girlfriend ASMR if I made it? I think Wait, actually, okay, you guys. So actually I have a question. Now, I have been meaning to get more into other ASMR outside of just our reading ASMR streams. Now, I've been trying to watch other people's ASMR streams to kind of figure out what's popular and like what other people are doing as far as like how to make an ASMR stream, because I've seen plenty of ASMR videos. I don't really watch many ASMR streams because I think for the most part a lot of the ASMR streams that I run into are like, you know, doing the ear stuff, right? Like, and I will tell you, there was one time I went into a stream and immediately I was met with the sound of this girl licking my ear, and it was the most uncomfortable feeling that I've ever had. And that was the moment that I knew that style of ASMR is not for me. It is not for me. Oh my god, I hate ear licking so much. I hate it so much. So I'm trying, so anytime that I see a stream that has like the 3DO microphone going on, I don't click on it, or if I go in there and I see it, I like immediately click away because I can't. That's just a sign that my ear is going to be licked, and I can't have that. No, I cannot have that happen to me. Never again. Never again. At that point, go touch grass. If anyone ever licks my ear in a stream again, I'm going to immediately throw off my headphones and go roll around in some grass. That was the most uncomfortable feeling I've ever had. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, let me figure out how to say quotile. Is the 5 meant to be like an S? Quotile smasher. It's hard to know sometimes. You like ASMR for stupid things like we ran out of hot chocolate ASMR. Clumsy boyfriend burns down the house ASMR. I think I saw that. I think I saw that on YouTube when I ruined my algorithm for a day. Have you ever have you ever just randomly clicked on stupid videos on YouTube just to see where it takes you, like where the rabbit hole goes, and then just effectively destroy your algorithm for a couple of days? Every now and then I'll do that, either with ASMR or with the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. Highly recommend the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, by the way. Especially when it comes to like cryptids. I love cryptid rabbit holes so much. You find so many interesting characters, so many interesting things. I've heard Heartbeat on 3DO. audio streams and it usually around my bed. I have seen some of those actually. Those ones I don't mind. I like those. I like the sound of a heartbeat. They're pretty nice. What do they do with that? Like they have the 3D microphones and then they have like a stethoscope, right? And they just hold it over where their heart is. I used to listen to machine shops and people talking to me or them making noises doesn't do it for me, but industrial CNC machines doing work is soothing. That's so interesting. You know, I used to really enjoy, actually, you know what, I still enjoy it, but I don't go out of my way for it anymore. But I used to like looking up videos of like people butchering meat and listening to the sound of hacking through meat and bones. I don't know what about it. I don't know what it is about the sound of like crushing bones and like just sawing through meat and bone that just soothes my ears. Yeah, the crunching. Also, food prep videos. I love food prep videos. I love them. Like without, like, yeah, I love them. Like the sound of boiling and sizzling, cutting the vegetables, things like that. I love those. I love those too. Nowadays, I watch a lot of like those like cafe videos where they're preparing like desserts and coffees, drink preparations. I like those. Mixology videos with the bartenders mixing and shaking drinks. I guess you could like just like the culinary stuff overall. I like those. I'm weak for ASMR vlogs where it isn't trying to be ASMR, it's just normal life. Do you watch Mr. and Miss She? Because her voice is so cute. Her voice is adorable. Drink videos, I would watch those in class my last 2 years of high school. I love the drink videos. Also, like, they're really nice looking, the drinks, and they're very pretty drinks. You don't think you have? Oh my gosh, highly recommend Mr. and Miss She. She's really shy about her voice because people used to like comment about it a lot, like negatively, because she has kind of a high-pitched voice, kind of childlike, and people would like accuse her of intentionally making her voice that way. But I think it's really cute, and but she speaks softly now in her videos because of that. Thank you for the head pats, by the way. Thank you. So good. It's cute. Also, I'm not sure how long stream is going to be today because I wanted to join a movie night in someone else's stream. Not stream, in someone else's Discord. I'm definitely going to be late for it though because they're gonna start around 7:30. Yeah, but I'm gonna wait and see what they plan on watching before I decide if I'm going to join in initially. Because it looks like they're going to be going for a while, so they'll probably watch a couple of movies. So if the first movie is not something I'm really interested in, I'll probably have like the normal amount of stream time that we usually do, so at least 3 hours of stream. But if they I'm hoping that they choose a movie that's not my vibe to watch first. But if they choose Scooby-Doo, I'm gonna be so mad because I'm gonna be late for it if they choose the Scooby movie. Or Coraline. I'll be so mad. Booby School. Oh yeah, I love Scooby-Doo so much. I love Scooby-Doo. I love Matthew Lillard. Also, your model is very cute. I like the color palette. Thank you so much. The model is this is a customizable model made by Suika. My color palette, I just really like pastels. I like pastels. Someone pointed out before that they're like colors of the trans flag, and I was like, oh man, I didn't even notice that. But yeah, so I gotta, you know what, I have to bring it up now. Hold on. So the reason for this color palette on this model, the reason for the color palette on this model, yeah, of course, the models, the colors existed before the flag. Yes. Yeah, someone pointed it out, and I was like, oh, because you know that was like the last thing on my mind. Hold on, let me find my my picture of my original character design. So I'm actually going through a character redesign at the moment. So my model is no longer going to look the way that I am going to make. Where is it? My folders. Is it under character art? Yes, it is. Okay, so. Let me get the. Okay, so here is my original character design. It's so large. What the fuck? Okay. Alright, so I had this. This was my PNG tuber. Well, it is my PNG tuber. This is, I commissioned a friend that I actually met through a mobile game to make this for me, right? For my PNG model. You like the bat wings? She's a dragon. She's actually like, she's a sea dragon. So those are like dragon wings. So this was the original design. So the colors, the palette colors for the model are actually based on, because of her tail. I really love the tail. So that is really one of the only things in this original concept that's going to be keeping, that I'm going to be keeping in my new design is the tail. Because I really love the style of this. Her hairstyle is going to be changing. It's still going to be this short hair, but I'm making a couple additions. She's not going to have the buns anymore. Or maybe I'll have like another hairstyle where she will have the buns, but the hairstyle is changing a little bit. The horns are going to be different as well. And she's going to have a different outfit. My character is based off of Filipino folklore, so I want to go with a pre-colonial Filipino clothing style, or even like early colonial Philippines, based on the region that my family is from, which is the Visayas region in the Philippines, central Philippines. The artist that I'm working with she already gave me a sketch of what it'll look like, so the rendering should be done by the end of the month, and I'm really happy with the way that things are turning out, so I'm just waiting for the next update. But super cute, love her. Your current colors remind me of Cinema Roll. Fun fact, so originally I wasn't going to be a sea dragon, and the reason for my name is because I love Cinema Roll. So I was actually going to do like a model or a character that was similar to Cinema Roll, our little flying puppy, but I was going to be like a rabbit instead. Yeah, I love Cinnamoroll. I have a Cinnamoroll Build-A-Bear. I love him. He's so cute. Let's go ahead and delete that. But yeah, that's my PNG model for my PNG tuber for now, until I get the new one. The new one made. But yeah, my original idea was going to be like a Cinnamoroll inspired VTuber. Hangyo-dun is your favorite Sanrio character? Aw, that's cute. So I love my big three are Cinnamoroll, Pum Pum Pudding, and My Melody. Cause you know I'm super basic. I actually want to get a Shiba Inu and name it Pom Pom. Yeah, I want to name her Pom Pom. Yeah. Okay. There are a few Shibas I've seen at work. There's one named Hida. He's very jump. Yeah, Shibas are like very independent and strong-willed, I should say. You have to be like really dedicated to their training. If they don't respect you, they're not going to listen at all. My first dog was a border collie when I was a kid, and then my dad's dog, our most recent animal, well, not most recent, because Artemis is my most recent, roast measant is my most recent, but yeah, my dad's dog is half German Shepherd, half Rottweiler. He is also very stubborn, but he was very good about training. You just he's just very particular about who he's going to listen to. During my interview, they asked what dog breed I would be, and I said border collie because I have a brain. I promise it's there. I could just be a little silly. That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, a particular pupper. Very particular pupper. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get back in. Let's go ahead and get into the book. So let's turn off the just chatting music and put up, let's see. Let's do this newest one from one day ago. Okay. That seems a bit loud, so I'm gonna turn it down a bit more. Okay, how does this sound to you guys? Is this, like, can you hear it well enough, but it's not overpowering? Good volume. Okay, good. It's giving Colet's vision story. Alright. So, the last time we went through reading Jurassic Park, we were in the Tyrannosaur paddock. Shit has begun to hit the fan. Dr. Malcolm has been eaten. The The children's car has been destroyed. The little girl, I assume, was eaten because we heard her scream, and then nothing more. Dr. Grant has been mollywopped by the T-Rex. Okay, we're in an ad break now. I didn't realize. So pre-rolls are turned off for the next hour. Where my ads at? I have no idea. Alright. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Dr. Grant has been mollywopped by the T-Rex. The man who was with the children had abandoned them and run into the woods in the opposite direction of the T-Rex. The HR guy. Ellie had stayed behind to monitor the, what's it called? I can't think of the name of the dinosaur, the Triceratops, with Dr. Harding, and also the lawyer stayed behind with them as well. Gennaro, Mr. Gennaro. That is where we left off. So now, let's see where the story takes us. We all know the movies, what happens in the movie. We've learned a lot of new things, a lot of differences between the movie and the books. So let's see what else is different. This chapter is called Return. Oh damn, Harding said. Will you look at that? They were sitting in Harding's gasoline-powered Jeep, staring forward past the flick-flick of the windshield wipers. In the yellow flare of the headlamps, a big fallen tree blocked the road. Must have been the lightning, Gennaro said. Hell of a tree. We can't get past it, Harding said. I better tell Arnold in control. He picked up the radio and twisted the channel dial. Hello, John. Are you there, John? There was nothing but steady hissing static. I don't understand, he said. The radio lines seem to be down. It must be the storm, Gennaro said. I suppose, Harding said. Try the land cruisers, Ellie said. Harding opened the other channels, but there was no answer. Nothing, he said. They're probably back to camp by now, and outside the range of our little set. In any case, I don't think we should stay here. It'll be hours before maintenance gets a crew out here to move that tree. He turned the radio off and put the Jeep into reverse. What are you going to do? Ellie said. Go back to the turnout and get onto the maintenance road. Fortunately, there's a second road system, Harding explained. We have one road for visitors and a second road for animal handlers and feed trucks and so on. We'll drive back on that maintenance road. It's a little longer and not so scenic, but you may find it interesting. If the rain lets up, we'll get a glimpse of some of the animals at night. We should be back in 30-40 minutes, Harding said, if I don't get lost. He turned the Jeep around in the night and headed south again. Lightning flashed, and every monitor in the control room went black. Arnold sat forward, his body rigid and tense. Jesus, not now, not now. That was all he needed, to have everything go out now in the storm. All the main power circuits were surge protected, of course, but Arnold wasn't sure about the modems Nedry was using for his data transmission. Most people didn't know it was possible to blow an entire system through a modem. The lightning pulse climbed back into the computer through the telephone line, and bang! No more motherboard. No more RAM. No more file server. No more computer. The screens flickered, and then one by one, they came back on. Why does my chat keep going in and out? R.I.P. computer kun. Yeah. Let me put this up just in case. Just in case my chat goes out again. It's a good thing phones with apps exist, right? Now then. Arnold sighed and collapsed back in his chair. He wondered again where Nedry had gone. 5 minutes ago, he'd sent guards to search the building for him. The fat bastard was probably in the bathroom reading a comic book. But the guards hadn't come back, and they hadn't called in. 5 minutes. If Nedry was in the building, they should have found him by now. Somebody took the damn Jeep, Muldoon said as he came back in the room. Have you talked to the land cruisers yet? Can't raise them on the radio, Arnold said. I have to use this because the main board is down. It's weak, but it ought to work. I've tried on all 6 channels. I know they have radios in the cars, but they're not answering. That's not good, Muldoon said. If you want to go out there, take one of the maintenance vehicles. I would, Muldoon said, but they're all in the east garage, more than a mile from here. Where's Harding? I assume he's on his way back. Then, he'll pick up the people in the land cruisers on his way. I assume so. Anybody tell him and the kids aren't back yet? Hell no, Arnold said. I don't want that son of a bitch running around here screaming at me. Everything's all right. For the moment. The land cruisers are just stuck in the rain. They can sit a while, until Harding brings them back, or until we find Nedry and make that little bastard turn the systems back on. You can't get them back on, Muldoon said. Arnold shook his head. I've been trying, but Nedry's done something to the system. I can't figure out what, but if I have to go into the code myself, that'll take hours. We need Nedry. We've got to find the son of a bitch right away. Right. Now we're back to Nedry. That little shithead. The sign said, electrified fence, 10,000 volts. Do not touch. But Nedry opened it with his bare hands and unlocked the gate, swinging it wide. He went back to the Jeep, drove through the gate, and then walked back to close it behind him. Now he was inside the park itself, no more than a mile from the east dock. He stepped on the accelerator and hunched forward over the steering wheel, peering through the rain-slashed windshields as he drove the Jeep down the narrow road. He was driving fast, too fast, but he had to keep to his timetable. He was surrounded on all sides by black jungle, but soon he should be able to see the beach and the ocean off to his left. The Scully Bones, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to the abyss. I can't talk. Yes, banana, because you are my minions. Eventually all of these will be changed, but these are gonna be we're gonna stick with these for a while. I'm working on a thing. But it's gonna take me a while to complete, so this damned storm, he thought. It might screw up everything. Because of Dodson's boat wasn't waiting for him at the east dock when Nedry got there, the whole plan would be ruined. Nedry couldn't wait very long, or he would be missed back at the control room. The whole idea behind the plan was that he could drive to the east dock, drop off the embryos, and be back in a few minutes, before anyone noticed. It was a good plan. A clever plan. Nedry worked on it very carefully, refining every detail. This plan was going to make him $1.5 million, 1.5 meg. That was 10 years of income in a single tax-free shot, and it was going to change his life. Nedry had been damned careful, even to the point of making Dodson meet him in the San Francisco airport at the last minute with an excuse about wanting to see the money. Actually, Nedry wanted to record his conversation with Dodson and mention him by name on the tape, just so that Dodson wouldn't forget he owed the rest of the money. Nedry was including a copy of the tape with the embryos. In short, Nedry had thought of everything except this damned storm. Something dashed across the road, a white flash in his headlights. It looked like a large rat. It scurried into the underbrush, dragging a fat tail. Possum. Amazing that a possum could survive here. You'd think the dinosaurs would get an animal like that. Where was the damned dock? He was driving fast, and he'd already been gone 5 minutes. He should have reached the east dock by now. Had he taken a wrong turn? He didn't think so. He hadn't seen any forks in the road at all. Then where was the dock? It was a shock when he came around the corner and saw that the road terminated in a gray concrete barrier, 6 feet tall and streaked dark with rain. He slammed on the brakes, and the Jeep fishtailed, losing traction in an end-to-end spin, and for a horrified moment, he thought he was going to smash into the barrier. He knew he was going to smash, and he spun the wheel frantically, and the Jeep slid to a stop. The headlamps just a foot from the concrete wall. Becky, let me smash. Let me smash. Ah. I haven't seen that in so long. Twig. Bitches love twigs. Oh my god. Alright. He paused there, listening to the rhythmic flick of the wipers I was gonna say whippers. He took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. He looked back down the road. He'd obviously taken a wrong turn somewhere. He could retrace his steps, but that would take too long. He'd better try and find out where the hell he was. He got out of the Jeep, feeling heavy raindrops spatter his head. It was a real tropical storm, raining so hard that it hurt. He glanced at his watch, pushing the button to illuminate the digital dial. 6 minutes gone. Where the hell was he? He walked around the concrete barrier, and on the other side, along with the rain, he heard the sound of gurgling water. Could it be the ocean? Nedry hurried forward, his eyes adjusting to the darkness as he went. Dense jungle on all sides, raindrops slapping on the leaves. The gurgling sound became louder, drawing him forward, and suddenly he came out of the foliage and felt his feet sink into soft earth and saw the dark currents of the river. The river! He was at the jungle river. Damn, he thought. At the river where? The river ran for miles through the island. He looked at his watch again. 7 minutes gone. You have a problem, Dennis, he said aloud. As if in reply, there was a soft hooting cry of an owl in the forest. Nedry hardly noticed. He was worrying about his plan. The plain fact that time had run out. There wasn't a choice anymore. He had to abandon his original plan. All he could do was go back to the control room, restore the computer, and somehow try to contact Dodson to set up the drop at the East Dock for the following night. Nedry would have to scramble to make that work, but he thought he could pull it off. The computer automatically logged all calls. After Nedry got through to Dodson, he'd have to go back into the computer and erase the record of the call. But one thing was sure. He couldn't stay out in the park any longer, or his absence would be noticed. Nedry started back, heading toward the glow of the car's headlights. He was drenched and miserable. He heard the soft hooting cry once more, and this time he paused. That hadn't really sounded like an owl, and it seemed to be close by, in the jungle somewhere off to his right. As he listened, he heard a crashing sound in the underbrush, then silence. He waited and heard it again. It sounded distinctly like something big, moving slowly through the jungle towards him. Something big, something near, a big dinosaur. Get out of here. Nedry began to run. He made a lot of noise as he ran, but even so, he could hear the animal crashing through the foliage and hooting. It was coming closer. Stumbling over the tree roots in the darkness, clawing his way past dripping branches, he saw the jeep ahead, and the lights shining around the vertical wall of the barrier made him feel better. In a moment, he'd be in the car, and then he'd get the hell out of there. He scrambled around the barrier, and then he froze. The animal was already there, but it wasn't close. The dinosaur stood 40 feet away, at the edge of the illumination from the headlamps. Nedry hadn't taken the tour, so he hadn't seen the different types of dinosaurs. But this one was strange looking. The 10-foot-tall body was yellow with black spots, and along the head ran a pair of red V-shaped crests. The dinosaur didn't move, but again gave its soft hooting cry. Nedry waited to see if it would attack. It didn't. Perhaps the headlights from the Jeep frightened it, forcing it to keep its distance, like a fire. The dinosaur stared at him, and then snapped its head in a single swift motion. Nedry felt something smack wetly against his chest. He looked down and saw a dripping glob of foam on his rain-soaked shirt. He touched it curiously, not comprehending. It was spit. The dinosaur had spit on him. It was creepy, he thought. He looked back at the dinosaur and saw the head snap again, and immediately felt another wet smack against his neck, just above the shirt collar. He wiped it away with his hand. Jesus, it was disgusting. Real girls scare me. Hello? Thank you for the follow. It was disgusting. But the skin of his neck was already starting to tingle and burn. And his hand was tingling too. It was almost like he had been touched with acid. Nedry opened the car door, glancing back at the dinosaur to make sure it wasn't going to attack, and felt a sudden, excruciating pain in his eyes, stabbing like spikes into the back of his skull, and he squeezed his eyes shut and gasped with the intensity of it, and threw up his hands to cover his eyes, and felt the slippery foam trickling down both sides of his nose. Spit. The dinosaur had spit in his eyes. See, why did he keep looking back at the dinosaur? Is he fucking stupid? Thing is spitting at you. Each time it's going higher and higher. You feel a tingling sensation where it spit at you. Are you fucking stupid? Jesus. Hawk to spit on that thing. Shit. Even as he had realized it, the pain overwhelmed him, and he dropped to his knees, disoriented, wheezing. He collapsed onto his side, his cheek pressed to the wet ground, his breath coming in thin whistles through the constant, ever-screaming pain that caused flashing spots of light to appear behind his tightly shut eyelids. The earth shook beneath him, and Nedry knew the dinosaur was moving. He could hear its soft hooting cry, and despite the pain, he forced his eyes open, and still he saw nothing but flashing spots against black. Slowly, the realization came to him. He was blind. The hooting was louder as Nedry scrambled to his feet and staggered back against the side panel of the car, as a wave of nausea and dizziness swept over him. The dinosaur was close now. He could feel it coming close. He was dimly aware of its snorting breath. Real girls scare me. How are you? Welcome to the stream. I hope you like Jurassic Park. Also, did you see the new movie? but he couldn't see. He couldn't see anything, and his terror was extreme. He stretched out his hands, waving them wildly in the air to ward off the attack he knew was coming. And then there was a new, searing pain, like a fiery knife in his belly, and Nedry stumbled, reaching blindly down to touch the ragged edge of his shirt, and then a thick, slippery mass that was surprisingly warm. And with horror, he suddenly knew he was holding his own intestines in his hand. The dinosaur had torn him open. His guts had fallen out. Nedry fell to the ground and landed on something scaly and cold. It was the animal's foot. And then there was a new pain on both sides of his head. The pain grew worse. And as he was lifted to his feet, he knew the dinosaur had his head in its jaws. And the horror of that realization was followed by a final wish that it would all be ended soon. And this was the end. This was the end of our Dennis Nedry, that scum. Good, hope you're well. I've seen it. I thought it was kind of a letdown, but not terrible. Yeah, no, I feel the same. Also, I am doing pretty well, thank you. Yeah, I saw it yesterday. I felt like it was unnecessary. Very unnecessary. And I hope they decide not to make another movie after this. It was very unnecessary to add that on to the franchise. I think it definitely could have ended at Dominion. I'm not mad at the movie. I did like it for what it was. I thought it was going... The trailers made me think that it would be a bit more scary and more action-y than what it was. I laughed a couple of times in the movie. But... very, like, it definitely was a letdown. It was not... Unnecessary film. They will. It makes too much money. Well, we'll see. I haven't looked at the box office numbers for this one. I know generally speaking, breaking even is a failure of right. I need to look at the box office numbers versus how much was spent to make the film. Alright, it says that there's going to be an ad break. I'm going to actually snooze that one. So we're going to snooze this ad break. So there's no ad break for the next 5 minutes. Oops. You know what? We're keeping it. This is now pinned for 20 minutes. You're welcome. That was an accident, but we're keeping it. I'm doing a lot of accidents today. A lot of accidents today. I was expecting at least one of family members to die in More Mutant Dinosaurs, not just two. Yeah. Well, I mean... They showed the mutants in the laboratory, right? That were still in their, like, incubators or whatever. Or not really incubators, it was in some kind of fluid. So maybe like a artificial amniotic fluid, maybe. I don't know. The little tanks. So there was that one. There was, of course, the D-Rex. I was hoping to see more of the D-Rex, honestly. I wanted to see more of the D-Rex. The Tyrannosaur scene had me, yeah. The Quetzalcoatlus was pretty cool, I guess. I think they could have done more with the Quetzalcoatlus. I know, I needed, like, there was so much hype around the D-Rex, and then they barely showed it. Yeah, there was no way that they were gonna have one of the family members die. I could just see it that that needed to be they needed to be part of the survivors. Like, that's just it. If anything, I would have expected the boyfriend to die, but all of them survived. So, but yeah, I was not expecting any of the family members to die. They needed to kill off dad? No, no, no. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way they were gonna kill off the dad. There's no way. Bro should have died in the water to keep everyone on their toes. No, 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 no. The way that, uh, the way that the one girl died after pulling all that shit onto the beach, and then she was trying to, first of all, she had no business being her size trying to pull that stuff further up onto the shore. There was no way that was going to happen for her, darling. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. There's no way that she thought she could actually move that shit further up onto dry land. There's no way. And then she got dragged out to, like, murked, completely murked by the Spinosaur that was chilling on the beach. Like, there was no way. There was no way. They killed off half the squad from the very beginning. Like, the first dude, dumb as hell, killed by the Spinosaur for being a dumbass. Okay. And then they killed the girl, dumbass, trying to pull up the heavy shit that she had no business trying to pull. Okay. And then they killed the French guy. I don't even know. Was he French, Haitian? I don't even know. But he's like the French speaking black guy, killed him off with the Quetzalcoatlus. Probably, yeah, I was thinking probably Haitian, right? But yeah, like there was no none of the name. No, they all had names. All of them had names. We just don't remember what any of their names are because they were inconsequential to the movie, I guess. Because they were just killed off right away, Game of Thrones style, you know? Besides the bad guy, but that, yeah, obviously the bad guy was going to die. Obviously he was going to die. Very satisfied with that. Very satisfied with that. You're going to get an ad break in about 1 minute. Alright? Actually, let me go ahead and I'm going to do a 1 minute ad. I'm going to do a 1 minute ad to offset that. I'm gonna wait for you to come back from the ad. Oh, wait. Yeah, no. No ads for you. That's amazing. Thank you so much for the sub. Thank you for the sub. Oh my god. We love it here, don't we? Sealy gets the ad though. Yeah, let me know, Sealy, when the ad is done so that I can continue reading. But yeah, there's that. Those characters are. Oh. Thank you for the gifted sub for Sealy. Thank you. Thank you. Takasamaja. Alright, pre-roll ads are disabled for the next 60 minutes. Let me dismiss that, thanks. Alright. Let's continue our reading. We'll continue our reading now. Oh, they're gonna be watching Scooby-Doo. What the fuck? I'm gonna be late. Sag. Oh shit! I forgot to put my Discord on streamer mode. Hold on. Keep forgetting to do that. What the? I'm so stupid bad. Who doing they school right now? My friend is doing Scooby-Doo watch party right now. I'm so sad. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. I cry. Oh, also, guys, don't forget tomorrow we're doing we're continuing Doki Doki Literature Club with my friends Energinx and Ipeko and and Teddy. It's going to be fun. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. This chapter is called Bungalow. That sounds fun. More coffee? Hammond asked politely. No, thank you, Henry Wu said, leaning back in his chair. I couldn't eat anything more. They were sitting in the dining room of Hammond's bungalow, in the secluded corner of the park, not far from the labs. Wu had to admit that the bungalow Hammond had built for himself was elegant, with sparse, almost Japanese lines. And the dinner had been excellent, considering the dining room wasn't fully staffed yet. But there was something about Hammond that Wu found troubling. The old man was different in some way. Subtly different. All during dinner, Wu had tried to decide what it was. In part, a tendency to ramble, to repeat himself, to retell old stories. In part, it was an emotional lability, flaring anger one moment, maudlin sentimentality the next. But all that could be understood as a natural concomitant of age. John Hammond was, after all, almost 77. But there was something else. A stubborn evasiveness. An insistence on having his way, and, in the end, a complete refusal to deal with the situation that now faced the park. Wu had been stunned by the evidence. He did not yet allow himself to believe the case was proved, that the dinosaurs were breeding. After Grant had asked about amphibian DNA, Wu had intended to go directly to his laboratory and check the computer records of the various DNA assemblies. Because if the dinosaurs were in fact breeding, then everything about Jurassic Park was called into question. Their genetic development methods, their genetic control methods, everything. Even the lysine dependency might be suspect. And if these animals could truly breed,
and could also survive in the wild. Henry Wu wanted to check the data at once, but Hammond had stubbornly insisted Wu accompany him at dinner. Now then, you must save room for ice cream, Henry, Hammond said, pushing back from the table. Maria makes the most wonderful ginger ice cream. Ginger ice cream. Actually not surprised by that flavor. All right, Wu looked at the beautiful, silent serving girl. His eyes followed her out of the room, and then he glanced up at the single video monitor mounted in the wall. The monitor was dark. Your monitor's out, Wu said. Is it? Hammond glanced over. Must be the storm. He reached behind him for the telephone. I'll just check with John in control. Wu could hear the static crackle on the telephone line. Hammond shrugged and set the receiver back in its cradle. Lines must be down, he said. Or maybe Nedry is still doing data transmission. He has quite a few bugs to fix this weekend. Nedry's a genius in his way, but we had to press him quite hard toward the end to make sure he got things right. Perhaps I should go to the control room and check, Wu said. No, Hammond said. There's no reason. If there were any problem, we'd hear about it. Ah. Maria came back into the room with 2 plates of ice cream. You must have just a little, Henry, Hammond said. It's made with fresh ginger from the eastern part of the island. It's an old man's vice ice cream, but still. Dutifully, Wu dipped his spoon. Outside, lightning flashed, and there was a sharp crack of thunder. That was close, Wu said. I hope the storm isn't frightening the children. I shouldn't think so, Hammond said. He tasted the ice cream. But I can't help but hold some fears about this park, Henry. Inwardly, Wu felt relieved. Perhaps the old man was going to face the facts after all. What kind of fears? Jurassic Park's really made for children. The children of the world love dinosaurs, and the children are going to just delight in this place. Their little faces will shine with the joy of finally seeing these wonderful animals. But I am afraid I may not live to see it, Henry. I may not live to see the joy on their faces. I think there are other problems too, Wu said, frowning. But none so pressing on my mind as this, Hammond said, that I may not live to see their shining, delighted faces. This is our triumph, this park. We have done what we set out to do, and, you remember, our original intent was to use the newly emerging technology of genetic engineering to make money. A lot of money. Wu knew Hammond was about to launch into one of his old speeches. He held up his hand. I'm familiar with this, John. If you were going to start a bioengineering company, Henry, what would you do? Would you make products to help mankind, to fight illness and disease? Dear me, no. That's a terrible idea, a very poor use of new technology. Hammond shook his head sadly. Yet you'll remember, he said. The original genetic engineering companies, like Genentech and Cetus, were all started to make pharmaceuticals, new drugs for mankind. Noble, noble purpose. Unfortunately, drugs face all kinds of barriers. FDA testing alone takes 5 to 8 years if you're lucky. Even worse, there are forces at work in the marketplace. Suppose you make a miracle drug for cancer or heart disease, as Genentech did. Suppose you now want to charge $1,000 or $2,000 a dose. You might imagine that is your privilege. After all, you invented the drug. You paid to develop and test it. You should be able to charge whatever you wish. But do you really think that the government will let you do that? No, Henry, they will not. Sick people aren't going to pay $1,000 a dose for needed medication. They won't be grateful. They'll be outraged. Blue Cross isn't going to pay it. They'll scream highway robbery. So something will happen. Your patent application will be denied. Your permits will be delayed. Something will force you to see reason and to sell your drug at a lower cost. From a business standpoint, that makes helping mankind a very risky business. Personally, I would never help mankind. Wu heard this argument before, and he knew Hammond was right. Some new bioengineered pharmaceuticals had indeed suffered inexplicable delays and patent problems. Now, Hammond said, think how different it is when you're making entertainment. Nobody needs entertainment. That's not a matter for government intervention. If I charge $5,000 a day for my park, who is going to stop me? After all, nobody needs to come here. And far, far from being highway robbery, a costly price tag actually increases the appeal of the park. A visit becomes a status symbol, and all Americans love that. So do the Japanese. And of course, they have far more money. Hammond finished his ice cream, and Maria silently took the dish away. She's not from here, you know, he said. She's Haitian. Her mother is French. But in any case, Henry, you will recall that the original purpose behind pointing my company in this direction in the first place was to have freedom from government intervention anywhere in the world. Speaking of the rest of the world, Hammond smiled. We have already leased a large tract in the Azores for Jurassic Park Europe. And you know, we long ago obtained an island near Guam for Jurassic Park Japan. Construction on the next 2 Jurassic Parks will begin early next year. They will all be open within 4 years. At that time, direct revenues will exceed $10 billion a year, and merchandising, television, and ancillary rights should double that. I see no reason to bother with children's pets, which I'm told Lou Dodson thinks we're planning to make. $20 billion a year, Wu said softly, shaking his head. That's speaking conservatively, Hammond said. He smiled. There's no reason to speculate wildly. More ice cream, Henry. Did you find him? Arnold snapped when the guard walked into the control room. No, Mr. Arnold. Find him. I don't think he's in the building, Mr. Arnold. Then look in the lodge, Arnold said. Look in the maintenance building. Look in the utility shed. Look everywhere, but just find him. The thing is, the guard hesitated. Mr. Nedry's the fat man, is that right? That's right, Arnold said. He's fat and a slob. Well, Jimmy down in the main lobby said he saw the fat man go into the garage. Muldoon's been around. Into the garage? When? About 10-15 minutes ago. Jesus, Muldoon said. The jeep screeched to a stop. Sorry, Harding said. In the headlamps, Ellie saw a herd of apatosaurs lumbering across the road. There were 6 animals, each the size of a house, and a baby as large as a full-grown horse. The apatosaurs moved in unhurried silence, never looking toward the jeep and its glowing headlamps. At one point, the baby stopped to lap water from a puddle in the road, then moved on. A comparable herd of elephants would have been startled by the arrival of a car, would have trumpeted and circled to protect the baby, but these animals showed no fear. "Don't they see us?" she said. "Not exactly, no," Harding said. "Of course, in a literal sense, they do see us, but we don't really mean anything to them. We hardly ever take the cars out at night, and so they have no experience of them. We are just a strange, smelly object in their environment, representing no threat, and therefore no interest. I've occasionally been out at night, visiting a sick animal, and on my way back, these fellows blocked the road for an hour or two." "What do you do?" Harding grinned. "Play a recorded tyrannosaur roar. That gets them moving. Not that they care much about tyrannosaurs. These apatosaurs are so big, they don't really have any predators. They can break a tyrannosaur's neck with a swipe of their tail, and they know it. So does the tyrannosaur. But they do see us, I mean. If we were to get out of the car..." Harding shrugged. "They probably wouldn't react. Dinosaurs have excellent visual acuity, but they have a basic amphibian visual system. It's attuned to the movement. They don't see unmoving things well at all." The animals moved on, their skin glistening in the rain. Harding put the car in gear. "I think we can continue now," he said. Okay. Yep. Wu said, "I suspect you may find there are pressures on your park, just as there are pressures on Genentech's drugs." He and Hammond had moved into the living room, and they were now watching the storm lash the big glass windows. "I can't see how," Hammond said. "The scientists may wish to constrain you, even to stop you." "Well, they can't do that," Hammond said. He shook his finger at Wu. "You know why the scientists would try to do that? It's because they want to do research, of course. That's all they ever want to do, is research. Not to accomplish anything, not to make any progress, just do research. Well, they have a surprise coming to them." "I wasn't thinking of that," Wu said. Hammond sighed. "I'm sure it would be interesting for the scientists to do research, but you arrive at the point where these animals are simply too expensive to be used for research. This is wonderful technology, Henry, but it's also frightfully expensive technology. The fact is, it can only be supported as entertainment," Hammond shrugged. "That's just the way it is." Imagine doing Roblox emotes in front of them. "But if there are attempts to close down..." "Face the damn facts, Henry," Hammond said irritably. "This isn't America. This isn't even Costa Rica. This is my island. I own it. And nothing is going to stop me from opening Jurassic Park to all the children of the world," he chuckled. "Or at least to the rich ones. And I tell you, they'll love it." In the back seat of the Jeep, Ellie Sattler stared out the window. They had been driving through rain-drenched jungle for the last 20 minutes and seen nothing since the apatosaurs crossed the road. "We're near the jungle river now," Harding said, as he drove. "It's off there, somewhere to our left." Abruptly, he slammed on the brakes again. The car skidded to a stop in front of a flock of small green animals. "Well, you're getting quite a show tonight," he said. "These are compies." Procompsognathids, Ellie thought, wishing that Grant were here to see them. This was the animal they had seen in the facts. Back in Montana, the little green proconsignathids scurried to the other side of the road, then squatted on their hind legs to look at the car, chittering briefly before hurrying onward into the night. Odd, Harding said. Wonder where they're off to. Compies don't usually move at night, you know. They climb up in a tree and wait for daylight. Then why are they out now? Ellie said. I can't imagine. You know compies are scavengers, like buzzards. They're attracted to a dying animal, and they have a tremendously sensitive smell. They can smell a dying animal for miles. Then they're going to a dying animal. Dying, or already dead. Should we follow them? Ellie said. I'd be curious, Harding said. Yes, why not? Let's go see where they're going. He turned the car around and headed back toward the compies. That's the end of that chapter. Oh. Gonna do a little move around. Let me stand up for a second. My butt hurts. Sitting in this chair for the last hour and a half.
Banana.
Vinnie Pooh. Hello, thank you for the follow. Get up and stretch for a second. Hi, little baby. Meow. 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 Yeah, I stood up, but that doesn't mean I'm doing anything. Actually, let me go feed her. I'm gonna put on an ad break, okay? And I'll be right back. I'm gonna go feed my cat. I think she's hungry now. It's time for her dinner. So I'm gonna do a minute. Okay, I'm back. I also refilled my water. I think we can do one more chapter. It's a decently long chapter. One or two chapters, we'll see. Let's see. Your EP? Well, this probably isn't helping you very much now, is it? Tim Murphy lay in the Land Cruiser, his cheek pressed against the car door handle. He drifted slowly back to consciousness. He only wanted to sleep. He shifted his position and felt the pain in his cheekbone where it lay against the metal door. His whole body ached. His arms and his legs, and most of all, his head. There was a terrible pounding pain in his head. All the pain made him want to go back to sleep. Probably had a concussion, poor thing. He pushed himself up on one elbow, opened his eyes, and retched, vomiting all over his shirt. He tasted sour bile and wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. His head throbbed. He felt dizzy and seasick, as if the world were moving, and if he were rocking back and forth on a boat. Tim groaned and rolled onto his back, turning away from the puddle of vomit. The pain in his head made him breathe in short, shallow gasps, and he still felt sick, as if everything were moving. He opened his eyes and looked around, trying to get his bearings. He was inside the Land Cruiser, but the car must have been flipped over on its side, because he was lying on his back against the passenger door, looking up at the steering wheel and beyond, at the branches of a tree moving in the wind. The rain had nearly stopped, but water drops still fell on him through the broken front windshield. He stared curiously at the fragments of glass. He couldn't remember how the windshield had broken. He couldn't remember anything except that they had been parked on the road, and he had been talking to Dr. Grant when the Tyrannosaur came towards them. That was the last thing he remembered. Snooze. He felt sick again and closed his eyes until the nausea passed. He was aware of a rhythmic creaking sound, like the rigging of a boat. Dizzy and sick to his stomach, he really felt as if the whole car were moving beneath him. But when he opened his eyes again, he saw it was true. The Land Cruiser was moving, laying on its side, swaying back and forth. The whole car was moving. Tentatively, Tim rose to his feet, standing on the passenger door. He peered over the dashboard, looking out through the shattered windshield. At first, he saw only dense foliage moving in the wind, but here and there he could see gasps, and beyond the foliage, the ground was 20 feet below him. He stared uncomprehendingly. The Land Cruiser was lying on its side in the branches of a large tree, 20 feet above the ground, swaying back and forth in the wind. "Oh shit," he said. What was he going to do? He stood on his tiptoes and peered out, trying to see better, grabbing the steering wheel for support. The wheel spun free in his hand, and with a loud crack, the Land Cruiser shifted position, dropping a few feet in the branches of a tree. He looked down through the shadowed glass of the passenger door window at the ground below. "Oh shit, oh shit," he kept repeating it. "Oh shit, oh shit." Another loud crack. The Land Cruiser jolted down another foot. He had to get out of here. He looked down at his feet. He was standing on the door handle. He crouched back down on his hands and knees to look at the handle. He couldn't see very well in the dark, but he could tell that the door was dented outward so the handle couldn't turn. He'd never get the door open. He tried to roll the window down, but the window was stuck too. Then he thought of the back door. Maybe he could open that. He leaned over the front seat, and the Land Cruiser lurched with the shift in weight. Carefully, Tim reached back and twisted the handle on the rear door. It was stuck too. How was he going to get out? He heard a snorting sound and looked down. A dark shape passed below him. It wasn't the Tyrannosaur. This shape was tubby, and it made a kind of snuffling as it waddled along. The tail flopped back and forth, and Tim could see the long spikes. It was the Stegosaur, apparently recovered from its illness. Tim wondered where the other people were. Shannaro and Sattler and the vet. He had last seen them near the Stegosaur. How long ago was that? He looked at his watch, but the face was cracked. He couldn't see the numbers. He took the watch off and tossed it aside. The Stegosaur snuffled and moved on. Now the only sound was the wind in the trees and the creaking of the Land Cruiser as it shifted back and forth. He had to get out of there. Tim grabbed the handle, tried to force it, but it was stuck solid. It wouldn't move at all. Then he realized what was wrong. The rear door was locked. Tim pulled up the pin and twisted the handle. Add brake in 1 minute. The rear door swung open, downward, and came to rest against the branch a few feet below. The opening was narrow, but Tim thought he could wriggle through it. Holding his breath, he crawled slowly back into the rear seat. The Land Cruiser creaked, but held its position, gripping the doorposts on both sides. Tim slowly lowered himself down through the narrow-angled opening of the door. Soon, he was lying flat on his stomach on the slanted door, his legs sticking out of the car. He kicked in the air. His feet touched something solid, a branch, and he rested his weight on it. As soon as he did, the branch bent down and the door swung wider, spilling him out of the Land Cruiser, and he fell, the leaves scratching his face, his body bouncing from branch to branch, a jolt, searing pain, bright lights in his head. He slammed to a stop. The wind knocked from him. Tim lay doubled over a large branch, his stomach burning pain. Tim heard another crack and looked up at the land cruiser. A big, dark shape 5 feet above him. Another crack. The car shifted. Ad break. Drink some water. Yap, 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 yap. About 30 seconds left. Tim forced himself to move, to climb down. He used to like to climb the trees. He was a good tree climber, and this was a good tree to climb. The branches spaced close together, almost like a staircase. Crack! The car was definitely moving. Tim scrambled downward, slipping over the wet branches, feeling sticky sap on his hands, hurrying. He had not descended more than a few feet when the Land Cruiser creaked a final time and then slowly, very slowly, nosed over. Tim could see the big green grill and the front headlights swinging down at him. And then the Land Cruiser fell free, gaining momentum as it rushed towards him, slamming against the branch where Tim had just been. And it stopped. When I go to Hawaii, I want to go to the places where they filmed the original movie. Ah. Where did they film the original movie? I used to know that information, but I forgot. I would love to go to Hawaii one day, honestly. Not to like the big touristy areas, though. Actually, you know what? I'm actually really big on like taking ghost tours. I love those. So I would want to go on a ghost tour in Hawaii. You know? Also, before anyone says anything, you don't have to believe in ghosts to think that those are entertaining. A lot of times ghost tours are very like historically informational. Mostly on Kauai. His face, just inches from the dented grill, bent inward like an evil mouth. Headlamps for eyes. Oil dripped on Tim's face. He was still 12 feet above the ground. He reached down, found another branch, and moved down. Above, he saw the branch bending under the weight of the Land Cruiser, and then it cracked. and the Land Cruiser came rushing down toward him, and he knew he could never escape it. He could never get down fast enough. So Tim just let go. He felt the rest of the way. Tumbling, banging, feeling pain in every part of his body. Hearing the Land Cruiser smashing down through the branches after him like a pursuing animal. And then Tim's shoulder hit the soft ground, and he rolled as hard as he could and pressed his body against the trunk of the tree as the Land Cruiser tumbled down with a solid metal crash and a sudden hot burst of electric sparks that stung his skin and sputtered and sizzled on the wet ground around him. Slowly, Tim got to his feet. In the darkness, he heard the snuffing and saw the stegosaur coming back, apparently attracted by the crash of the Land Cruiser. The dinosaur moved dumbly, the low head thrust forward, and the big cartilaginous plates running in 2 rows along the hump of the back. It behaved like an overgrown tortoise, stupid like that, and slow. Tim picked up a rock and threw it. Get away! The rock thunked dully off the plates. The stegosaur kept coming. Go on, go! He threw another rock and hit the stegosaur on the head. The animal grunted, turned slowly away, and shuffled off in the direction it had come. Tim leaned against the crumpled Land Cruiser and looked around in the darkness. He had to get back to the others, but he didn't want to get lost. He knew he was somewhere in the park, probably not far from the main road. If he could only get his bearings. He couldn't see much in the dark, but then he remembered the goggles. He climbed through the shattered front windshield into the Land Cruiser and found the night vision goggles and the radio. The radio was broken and silent, so he left it behind, but the goggles still worked. He flicked them on, saw the reassuringly familiar phosphorescent green image. Wearing the goggles, he saw the battered fence off to his left and walked toward it. The fence was 12 feet high, but the Tyrannosaur had flattened it easily. Tim hurried across it, moved through the area of dense foliage, and came out onto the main road. Through his goggles, he saw the other Land Cruiser turned on its side. He ran toward it, took a breath, and looked inside. The car was empty. No sign of Dr. Grant or Dr. Malcolm. Where had they gone? Where had everybody gone? He felt a sudden panic. Standing alone in the jungle road at night with an empty car, and turned quickly into circles, seeing the bright green world in the goggles swirl. Something pale by the side of the road caught his eye. It was Lex's baseball. He wiped the mud off it. Tim shouted, "Lex!" Tim shouted as loud as he could, not caring if the animals heard him. He listened, but there was only wind, and the plink of raindrops falling from the trees. Lex! He vaguely remembered that she had been in the Land Cruiser when the Tyrannosaur attacked. Had she stayed there, or had she gotten away? The events of the attack were confused in his mind. He wasn't exactly sure what had happened. Just to think of it made him uneasy. He stood in the road, gasping with panic. Lex! The night seemed to close in around him. Feeling sorry for himself, he sat in a cold, rainy puddle in the road and whimpered for a while. When he finally stopped, he still heard whimpering. It was faint, and it was coming from somewhere further up the road. Maybe she didn't die. We'll see. Maybe she didn't. How long has it been? Muldoon said, coming back into the room. He was carrying a black metal case. 30 minutes. Harding's sheep should be back here by now. Arnold stubbed out his cigarette. I'm sure they'll arrive any minute now. Still no sign of Nedry, Muldoon said. No, not yet. Muldoon opened the case, which contained 6 portable radios. I'm going to distribute these to people in the building. He handed one to Arnold. Take the charger too. These are our emergency radios. But nobody had them plugged in naturally. Let it charge about 20 minutes, and then try and raise the cars. Andrew, hello. Welcome in. How are you doing? Henry Wu opened the door marked fertilization and entered the darkened lab. There was nobody here. Apparently, all the technicians were still at dinner. Wu went directly to the computer terminal and punched up the DNA logbooks. The logbooks had to be kept on computer. DNA was such a large molecule that each species required 10 gigabytes of optical disk space to store details of all the iterations. He was going to have to check all 15 species. That was a tremendous amount of information to search through. He still wasn't clear about why Grant thought frog DNA was important. Wu himself didn't often distinguish one kind of DNA from another. After all, most DNA in living creatures was exactly the same. DNA was an incredibly ancient substance. Trigger requests. I mostly do just ASMR reading streams. I've been looking at branching out into more ASMR content, however, I haven't worked out any of those details yet. So, no, I don't have any trigger requests worked out. I have to find what I'm comfortable with. Human beings walking around in the streets of the modern world, bouncing their pink new babies, hardly stop to think that the substance at the center of it all, the substance that began the dance of life, was a chemical almost as old as the earth itself. The DNA molecule was so old that its evolution had essentially finished more than 2 billion years ago. There had been little new since that time, just a few recent combinations of the old genes, and not much of that. When you compare the DNA of man and the DNA of a lowly bacterium, you found that only about 10% of the strands were different. This innate conservatism of DNA emboldened Wu to use whatever DNA he wished. In making his dinosaurs, Wu had manipulated the DNA as a sculptor might clay or marble. He had created freely. He started the computer search program, knowing it would take 2 or 3 minutes to run. He got up and walked around the lab, checking instruments out of long-standing habit. He noted the recorder outside the freezer door, which tracked the freezer temperature. He saw there was a spike in the graph. That was odd, he thought. It meant somebody had been in the freezer. Recently, too. Within the last half hour. But who would go in there at night? The computer beeped, signaling that the first of the data searches was complete. Wu went over to see what it had found, and when he saw the screen, he forgot all about the freezer and the graph spike. The result was clear. All breeding dinosaurs incorporated rana, or frog, DNA. None of the other animals did. Wu still did not understand why this had caused them to breed, but he could no longer deny that Grant was right. The dinosaurs were breeding. He hurried up to the control room. Let's see, how long is the next chapter? Yeah, let's do the next chapter. She was curled up inside a big 1-meter drainage pipe that ran under the road. She had her baseball glove in her mouth, and she was rocking back and forth, banging her head repeatedly against the back of the pipe. It was dark in there, but he could see her clearly with his goggles. She seemed unhurt, and he felt a great burst of relief. "Lex, it's me, Tim." She didn't answer. She continued to bang her head on the pipe. "Come on out." She shook her head no. He could see she was badly frightened. "Lex, if you come out, I'll let you wear these night goggles." She just shook her head. "Look what I have," he said, holding up his hand. She stared, uncomprehendingly. It was probably too dark for her to see. "It's your ball, Lex. I found your ball." "So what?" He tried another approach. "It must be uncomfortable in there. Cold, too. Wouldn't you like to come out?" She resumed banging her head against the pipe. "Why not?" "There's aminals out there." That threw him for a moment. She hadn't said aminals for years. "The aminals are gone," he said. "There's a big one, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's gone." "Where did he go?" "I don't know, but he's not around here now," Tim said, hoping it was true. Lex didn't move. He heard her banging again. Tim sat down in the grass outside the pipe where she could see him. The ground was wet where he sat. He hugged his knees and waited. He couldn't think of anything else to do. "I'm just going to sit here," he said, "and rest." Is Daddy out there? No, he said, feeling strange. He's back at home, Lex. Is Mommy? No, Lex. Are there any grown-ups out there? Lex said. Not yet, but I'm sure they'll come soon. They're probably on their way right now. Then he heard her moving inside the pipe, and she came out, shivering with cold and with dried blood on her forehead, but otherwise all right. She looked around in surprise and said, "Where's Dr. Grant?" "I don't know." "Well, he was here before." "He was? When?" "Before," Lex said. "I saw him when I was in the pipe." "Where'd he go?" "How am I supposed to know?" Lex said. Wrinkling her nose, she began to shout, "Hello? Hello? Dr. Grant? Dr. Grant?" Tim was uneasy at the noise she was making. It might bring back the dinosaur. But a moment later, he heard an answer shout. It was coming from the right, over toward the Land Cruiser that Tim had left a few minutes before. With his goggles, Tim saw with relief that Dr. Grant was walking toward them. He had a big tear in his shirt at the shoulder, but otherwise, he looked okay. "Thank God," he said. "I've been looking for you." Shivering, Ed Regis got to his feet and wiped the cold mud off his face and hands. He had spent a very bad half hour wedged among big boulders on the slope of a hill before the road. Oh, that fucking scared me. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. What the fuck? No, that's okay. It's okay. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. How are you? I'm assuming you're a fan of Jurassic Park. Oh, God. He knew it wasn't much of a hiding place, but he was panicked and he wasn't thinking clearly. He had lain in this muddy, cold place, and he had tried to get a hold of himself, but he kept seeing that dinosaur in his mind. That dinosaur coming toward him, toward the car. Ed Regis didn't remember exactly what had happened after that. He remembered that Lex had said something, but he hadn't stopped. He couldn't stop. He had just kept running and running. Beyond the road, he had lost his footing and tumbled down the hill and come to rest by some boulders. And it had seemed that he could crawl in among the boulders and hide, and there was enough room. So that's what he had done. Gasping and terrified, thinking of nothing except to get away from the Tyrannosaur. And finally, when he was wedged in there like a rat between the boulders, he had calmed down a little, and he had been overcome with horror and shame because he'd abandoned those kids. He had just run away. He had just saved himself. He knew he should go back up to the road. He should try to rescue them, because he had always imagined himself as brave and cool under pressure. But whenever he tried to get control of himself, to make himself go back up there, somehow he just couldn't. He started to feel panicky, and he had trouble breathing, and he didn't move. Thank you for the head pats. Just like listening to ASMR, it sounds really relaxing. Yeah. Yeah, I do like going into some ASMR streams. I'm kind of choosy about them though, because once you start ear licking, I'm out of there. ASMR streams scare me half the time. Sorry again for spooking me. No, it's okay. It's okay. It was just unexpected. It was just unexpected. Not the ear licking again. Yo, I can't tell you how many times I've had my ear licked. Oh my god. He told himself it was hopeless anyway. If the kids were still up there on the road, they could never survive. And certainly there was nothing Ed Regis could do for them, and he might as well stay where he was. No one was going to know what had happened except him, and there was nothing he could do. Nothing he could have done. And so Ed Regis had remained among the boulders for half an hour, fighting off the panic, carefully not thinking about whether the kids had died, or about what Hammond would have to say when he found out. What finally made him move was the peculiar sensation he noticed in his mouth. The side of his mouth felt funny, kind of numb and tingling, and he wondered if he had heard it during the fall. Ed Regis touched his face and felt swollen flesh on the side of his mouth. It was funny, but it didn't hurt at all. Then he realized the swollen flesh was a leech growing fat as it sucked his lips. It was practically in his mouth. Shivering with nausea, Regis pulled the leech away, feeling it tear from the flesh of his lips. Feeling the gush of warm blood in his mouth, he spat and flung it with disgust into the forest. He saw another leech on his forearm and pulled it off, leaving a dark bloody streak behind. Jesus, he was probably covered in them. That fall down the hillside, these jungle hills were full of leeches. So were the dark rocky crevices. What did the workmen say? The leeches crawled up your underwear. They liked dark, warm places. They liked to crawl right up your... Hello? He stopped. It was a voice, carried by the wind. Hello, Dr. Grant. Jesus, that was the little girl. Ed Regis listened to the tone of her voice. She didn't sound frightened or in pain. She was just calling in her insistent way. And it slowly dawned on him that something else must have happened, that the Tyrannosaur must have gone away, or at least hadn't attacked, and that the other people might still be alive. Grant and Malcolm. Everybody might be alive, and the realization made him pull himself together in an instant. The final snooze. Isumi, hello, welcome back. Did you have a good sleep? Leeches up your butt. Oh my god. The horror. Everybody might still be alive, and the realization made him pull himself together in an instant. The way you got sober in an instant when the cops pulled you over. What was your nightmare? Why don't you tell me about it? Thank you so much for the sub. No more ads for you. Don't forget to refresh the stream to make sure that it kicks in. Very dark in the last bastion of humanity. So, you had like an apocalyptic dream. I've had one of those before. It was very interesting. Woke up with tears in my eyes. It was a time in my life where things were a bit crazy, a bit sad. Did not expect so many things. Yeah, seashells hit me. Sometimes pearls hit me. Last defense breached. Last bullet in that. Ah, I understand. I understand. Was it zombies? Was it zombies? Mutants. Oh. How interesting. I could tell. Yeah, tell me about your dreams. I love hearing about dreams. Tell me. Think of it like Left 4 Dead 2 zombies, but hellish. Oh, how interesting. I do like a good zombie movie. The way you got sober in an instant when the cops pulled you over, and he felt better, because now he knew what he had to do. And as he crawled out from the boulders, he was already formulating the next step, already figure out what he would say, how to handle things from this point. Regis wiped the cold mud off his face and hands, the evidence that he had been hiding. He wasn't embarrassed that he had been hiding, but now he had to take charge. He scrambled back up toward the road, but when he emerged from the foliage, he had a moment of disorientation. He didn't see the cars at all. He was somehow at the bottom of the hill. The Land Cruisers must be at the top. He started walking up the hill, back toward the Land Cruisers. It was very quiet. His feet splashed in the muddy puddles. He couldn't hear the little girl anymore. Why had she stopped calling? As he walked, he began to think that maybe something had happened to her. In that case, he shouldn't walk back there. Maybe the Tyrannosaur was still hanging around. Here he was, already at the bottom of the hill, that much closer to home. And it was so quiet. Spooky, it was so quiet. And Regis turned around and started walking back toward the camp. Yeah, it was a satellite phone ringtone, and that was in the third movie, which is not canon to the books. There are only 2 books. from Michael Crichton. So the third movie is strictly movie canon. Actually, the second movie isn't even really canon to the first book because, man. Alright. But yeah, it was like, how was the ringtone? It was dun 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 dun. Something like that. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, that was it. You can tell I've seen those movies many times. Alright. Alan Grant ran his hands over his limbs, squeezing the arms and legs briefly. She didn't seem to have any pain. It was amazing. Aside from a cut on her head, she was fine. I told you I was, she said. Well, I had to check. The boy was not quite so fortunate. Tim's nose was swollen and painful. Grant suspected it was broken. His right shoulder was badly bruised and swollen, but his legs seemed to be all right. Both kids could walk. That was the important thing. Grant himself was all right, except for a claw abrasion down his right chest where the tyrannosaur had kicked him. It burned with every breath, but it didn't seem to be serious, and it didn't limit his movement. He wondered if he had been knocked unconscious, because he had only dim recollections of events immediately preceding that moment he had sat up. Groaning in the woods 10 yards from the land cruiser. At first his chest had been bleeding, so he had stuck leaves on the wound, and after a while it clotted, and then he started walking around, looking for Malcolm and the kids. Grant couldn't believe he was still alive, and as scattered images began to come back to him, he tried to make sense of them. The tyrannosaur should have killed them all easily. Why hadn't it? I'm hungry, Lex said. Me too, Grant said. We've got to get ourselves back to civilization, and we've got to tell them about the ship. We're the only ones who know, Tim said. Yes, we've got to get back and tell them. Then let's walk down the road towards the hotel, Tim said, pointing down the hill. That way, we'll meet them when they come for us. Grant considered that, and he kept thinking about one thing. The dark shape that had crossed between the land cruisers even before the attack started. What animal had that been? He could think of only one possibility. The little tyrannosaur. I don't think so, Tim. The road has high fences on both sides, Grant said. If one of the tyrannosaurs is farther down the road, we'll be trapped. Then should we wait here, Tim said. Yes, Grant said. Let's just wait here until someone comes. I'm hungry, Lex said. I hope it won't be very long, Grant said. I don't want to stay here, Lex said. Then, from the bottom of the hill, they heard the sound of a man coughing. Stay here, Grant said. He ran forward to look down the hill. Stay here, Tim said. And he ran forward after him. Lex followed her brother. Don't leave me. Don't leave me here, you guys. Grant clapped his hand over her mouth. She struggled to protest. He shook his head and pointed over the hill for her to look. At the bottom of the hill, Grant saw Ed Regis standing rigid, unmoving. The forest around them had become deadly silent. The steady background drone of cicadas and frogs had ceased abruptly. There was only the faint rustle of leaves and the whine of the wind. Does anybody know what that means? Do you guys know what it means when everything around you becomes deadly silent? No insects, no birds, nothing but the sound of wind in the trees. Do you know what that means? Yes. That is the sound of impending doom. Let's see. My dream was about me just walking outside, enjoying my day, got in the car, and set off to my friend's place. Once I got there, I've noticed something out of place, like something was missing. I went to investigate and saw that half of my friend's stuff was missing, and so was my friend. I got really worried, so I went back home and tried calling him by phone, but no one picked up, so I went to sleep. Once I woke up, I went to my job, and when I was going up the stairs, I noticed that the whole building turned red inside. I looked outside and saw a meteor flying right into me. What happened next, I don't know, but what I do know is that I woke up really quickly and my heart was pounding really fast. It took 10 minutes to calm down. That is a pretty crazy dream. Hit by a meteor. Birds sing when all is well, no predators in sight. Yeah. When the forest is quiet, a predator is around. At the bottom, let's see, no faint, only the faint rustle of leaves and the whine of the wind. Let's see what happens next. Lex started to speak, but Grant pulled her against the trunk of the nearest tree, ducking down among the heavy, gnarled roots at the base. Tim came in right after them. Grant put his hands to his lips, signaling them to be quiet, and then he slowly looked around the tree. The road below was dark, and as the branches of the big trees moved in the wind, the moonlight flittering through made a dappled, shifting pattern. Ed Regis was gone. It took Grant a moment to locate him. The publicist was pressed up against the trunk of a big tree, hugging it. Regis wasn't moving at all. The forest remained silent. Lex tugged impatiently at Grant's shirt. She wanted to know what was happening. Then, from somewhere very near, they heard a soft, snorting exhalation, hardly louder than the wind. Lex heard it too, because she stopped struggling. The sound floated toward them again, soft as a sigh. Grant thought it was almost like the breathing of a horse. Grant looked at Regis and saw the moving shadows cast by the moonlight on the trunk of the tree. And then Grant realized there was another shadow, superimposed on the others, but not moving. A strong, curved neck and a square head. The exhalation came again. Tim leaned forward cautiously to look. Lex did too. They heard a crack as a branch broke, and into the path stepped a tyrannosaur. It was the juvenile, about 8 feet tall, and it moved with the clumsy gait of a young animal, almost like a puppy. The juvenile tyrannosaur shuffled down the path, stopping with every step to sniff the air before moving on. It passed the tree where Regis was hiding, and gave no indication that it had seen him. Grant saw Regis's body relax slightly. Regis turned his head, trying to watch the dinosaur on the far side of the tree. The dinosaur was now out of view down the road. Regis started to relax, releasing his grip on the tree, but the jungle remained silent. Regis remained close to the tree trunk for another half a minute. Then the sounds of the forest returned. The first tentative croak of the tree frog, the buzz of one cicada, and then the full chorus. Regis stepped away from the tree, shaking his shoulders, releasing the tension. He walked into the middle of the road, looking in the direction of the departed tyrannosaur. Tell me, Chad, what do you think is going to happen next? Any guesses? Girl dinner. Nom nom time. The attack came from the left. The juvenile roared as it swung its head forward, knocking Regis flat to the ground. He yelled and scrambled to his feet, but the tyrannosaur pounced, and it must have pinned him with its hind leg, because suddenly Regis wasn't moving. He was sitting up in the path, shouting at the dinosaur and waving his hands at it as if he could scare it off. The young dinosaur seemed perplexed by the sounds and movements coming from this tiny prey. The juvenile bent its head over, sniffing curiously, and Regis pounded on the snout with his fists. Get away! Back off! Go on, back off! Regis was shouting at the top of his lungs, and the dinosaur backed away, allowing Regis to get to his feet. Regis was shouting, Yeah, you heard me. Back off. Get away. As he moved away from the dinosaur, the juvenile continued to stare curiously at the odd, noisy little animal before it. But when Regis had gone a few paces, it lunged and knocked him down again. It's playing with him, Grant thought. Hey! Regis shouted as he fell. But the juvenile did not pursue him, allowing him to get to his feet. He jumped to his feet and continued backing away. You stupid! Back! Back! You heard me! Back! He shouted like a lion tamer. The juvenile roared, but it did not attack, and Regis now edged toward the trees and high foliage to the right. In another few steps, he would be hiding. Back, you! Back! Regis shouted. And then, at the last moment, the juvenile pounced and knocked Regis flat on his back. Cut that out, Regis yelled. And the juvenile ducked his head and Regis began to scream. No words, just a high-pitched scream. The scream cut off abruptly, and when the juvenile lifted his head, Grant saw ragged flesh in his jaws. "Oh no," Lex said softly. Beside her, Tim had turned away, suddenly nauseated. His night vision goggles slipped from his forehead and landed on the ground with a metallic clink. The juvenile's head snapped up, and it looked toward the top of the hill. Tim picked up his goggles as Grant grabbed both the children's hands and began to run. That's the end of that chapter. Oops. Let me see. Let's read the next one. It's short. We're back in the control room. In the night, the compy scurried along the side of the road. Harding's jeep followed a short distance behind. Ellie pointed farther up the road. "Is that a light?" "Could be," Harding said. "Looks almost like headlights." The radio suddenly hummed and crackled. They heard John Arnold say, "You there?" "Ah, there he is," Harding said. Finally, he pressed the button. "Yes, John, we're here. We're near the river, following the compies. It's quite interesting." More crackling, then, "Eat your car." "What'd he say?" Shannaro said. "Something about a car," Ellie said. "At Grant's dig in Montana, Ellie was the one who operated the radio phone. After years of experience, she had become skilled at picking up garbled transmissions. I think he said he needs your car." Harding pressed the button. "John, are you there? We can't read you very well. John." There was a flash of lightning, followed by a long sizzle of radio static. Then Arnold's tense voice. "Not eat, eed, eed." "Where are you?" 1 mile north. We're 1 mile north of the Hipsy paddock, near the river, following some compies. "No, damn well, get back here. Ow." "Sounds like he's got a problem," Ellie said, frowning. There was no mistaking the tension in the voice. "Maybe we should go back." Harding shrugged. "John's frequently got a problem. You know how engineers are. They want everything to go by the book." He pressed the button on the radio. "John, say again, please." More crackling. More static. The loud crash of lightning. Then, "Muldoon, need your car. Out." Shannaro frowned. "Is he saying Muldoon needs our car?" "That's what it sounded like," Ellie said. "Well, that doesn't make any sense." Harding said, "Other stuck. Muldoon wants car." "I get it," Ellie said. "The other cars are stuck on the road in the storm, and Muldoon wants to go get them." Harding shrugged. "Why doesn't Muldoon take the other car?" He pushed the radio button. "John, tell Muldoon to take the other car. It's in the garage." The radio crackled. "Not... Listen, crazy bastards. Car." Head hurting pressed on the radio. "I said it's in the garage, John. The car is in the garage. More static. Edri has seen one. I'm afraid this isn't getting us anywhere, Harding said. All right, John, we're coming in now. He turned the radio off and turned the car around. I just wish I understood what the urgency is. Harding put the Jeep in gear, and they rumbled down the road in the darkness. It was another 10 minutes before they saw the welcoming lights of the Safari Lodge, and as Harding pulled to a stop in front of the visitor center, they saw Muldoon coming towards them. He was shouting and waving his arms. God damn it, Arnold, you son of a bitch. God damn it, get this park back on track. Now, get my grandkids back here, now. John Hammond stood in the control room, screaming and stamping his little feet. They make him sound like a toddler. He had been carrying on this way for the last 2 minutes, while Henry Wu stood in the corner looking stunned. Well, Mr. Hammond, Arnold said, Muldoon's on his way out right now to do exactly that. Arnold turned away and lit another cigarette. Hammond was like every other management guy Arnold had ever seen. Whether it was Disney or the Navy, management guys always behaved the same. They never understood the technical issues, and they thought that screaming was the way to make things happen. And maybe it was, if you were shouting at your secretaries to get you a limousine. But screaming didn't make any difference at all to the problems that Arnold now faced. The computer didn't care if it was screamed at. The power network didn't care if it was screamed at. Technical systems were completely indifferent to all this explosive human emotion. If anything, screaming was counterproductive, because Arnold now faced the virtual certainty that Nedry wasn't coming back, which meant that Arnold himself had to go into the computer code and try and figure out what had gone wrong. It was going to be a painstaking job. He'd need to be calm and careful. Why don't you go down to the cafeteria, Arnold said, and get a cup of coffee. We'll call you when we have more news. I don't want a Malcolm effect here, Hammond said. Don't worry about a Malcolm effect, Arnold said. Will you let me go to work? God damn you, Hammond said. I'll call you, sir, when I have news from Muldoon, Arnold said. He pushed buttons on his console and saw the familiar control screens change. Jurassic Park main modules. Call libs include biostat system, include sysrom VST, include net system, include power mdal, initialize set main, blah blah blah, code lingo, blah 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 blah, code lingo. Arnold was no longer operating the computer. He had now gone behind the scenes to look at the code, the line-by-line instructions that told the computer how to behave. Arnold was unhappily aware that the complete Jurassic program contained more than 500,000 lines of code, most of it undocumented, without explanation. Wu came forward. What are you doing, John? Checking the code. By inspection, that'll take forever. Tell me, Arnold said. Tell me. It's like, really, tell me how to do my job, Mr. Scientist. I'm the IT guy here. Tell me how to do my job. Right now. Fucking tell me. You fucking moron. That's literally running through his brain right now. Oh, we love it. I've really been enjoying the book so far.
And they were roommates. Yes. Ah, I like the book. We are, I want to say, about 2/3 of the way through the book. We'll do another reading of it on Saturday. We'll do all the readings. We'll do more reading on Saturday. Tomorrow is Doki Doki Literature Club collab. So we know how the last one ended in terrible, agonizing pain. But tomorrow we can breathe easy. After we finish Jurassic Park, we will read the second novel. Imagine if you did cozy readings of the FNAF books. That's an idea. Sayori. We haven't gotten that far yet. We haven't gotten that far yet. We had to end early, remember, because I had a little medical scare. I thought that I was having a we thought that I may have been having a appendicitis predicament, but it turned out to be okay. It was okay. I was fine. So, yeah, we had to end early last time because of that. So, yeah, we'll be continuing. We'll be continuing that tomorrow. Yeah, remember I had that issue going on. I felt really sick. But it ended up just being a UTI. It was like, that's like the first time I've ever had one, so I didn't know exactly how that was supposed to feel. So, if you guys will stick around with me for a bit, I am going to be raiding out to someone. I'm going to look for someone to raid out to. Anyone who's new here, we do have a Discord that you can join in and hang out. I can always be found there writing, texting. We've been doing Wordle. I also hang out in my VC sometimes to play games or just hang out with everyone. So feel free to join. Stick around for the raid so you get extra points. Let me find somebody. First, let me look in my following to see if I want to raid any of these people. If not, I'll look for someone also in the ASMR category. Lofi! Lofi, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Lofi's raiders. I'm gonna snooze that. Lofi, I'm so sorry. We're actually about to raid out to, but you guys can stick around for a raid train. Oh, I can take your raiders with me on my raid. Welcome in, raiders. Hi, my name is Syndra. I'm a Bakunawa VTuber. Bakunawa is begrudgingly kind of like a sea dragon, but Filipino lore specific. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you. I'm just looking for someone to raid out to right now.
So let me see who I have that is still live. That I have not rated out to recently. Let's see. I kind of want to stick with the same kind of vibe. Hello. How is everyone doing today? While I'm looking. Oh, let's see. I can drop you off with someone who's playing Alien Isolation. I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good today. We had a very lovely stream. Got a few wonderful new followers. Who's isolating aliens right now? I believe she is like a celestial sheep, I think. So I can drop you off with her. Or I have a friend who's not a VTuber who is playing Sky Children of the Light. I don't know how much longer he's going to be streaming though. He doesn't do very long streams. Let me click on her and see. She's been streaming for almost 3 hours. Luffy Raid. Welcome in, Pixel Particle. I'm not sure how long she's gonna be streaming for. Juner, hello. Bubbles, only 25 cents. You get one per stream. They're only 25 cents. Or I can drop you off with Momo Plush. She's reacting to cringe cooking videos. Hi. 25 cents. Exactly. Yeah, you know what? I think I'll... Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the choice. Cringe cooking? Oh, yes, absolutely. I was gonna give you the choice between this and Alien Isolation. But if you're interested in this, I'm definitely gonna do this one. Alright, so let me go ahead and start up the raid. Actually, let me do this again. For those of you who have just joined us, there's the Discord right there. I hang out in there sometimes. You can find me. You can find me there very easily. I'm going to raid out to Momo Plush. She's a very super cool gal. So be sure to represent me well. Don't you dare fucking embarrass me. Don't you dare embarrass me when you go over there. Don't you dare. Alright? So, Everybody hop on board. Thank you, thank you. I will see you guys on the next stream, which will be tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow we will be streaming Doki Doki Literature Club. Remember it at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So I will see you guys next time. Bye bye, y'all. Bye 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 bye.